Howdy everyone, Mob Ross here with another dev interview. We're taking a break from the mods for a bit. Today we've got Spy21DD. Spy, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Only pretty good? Why not great?
Painting's hard work. You'd think it wouldn't be painting as much as... I suppose it's a lot more waiting and preparation than is actually painting.
I'm missing the joke here.
Oh no, there's no joke.
You've been painting?
Yep.
Medium?
Oh, I'm repainting all the kitchen cabinets because they did a bad job. So now I get to be the handyman for the summer.
Congratulations. What are we doing today?
I'm doing good old 18-point gray.
Oh boy. What were our mods?
Oh, I rolled entry 4, twisted 5. We got a pretty good spread. Let's go check it out.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Gotta make sure to put on my armor. You might want to put on that Mask of the Father again.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking mighty kitted out there. It's almost like it's a reference to something. Wonder what it could be.
It's almost as if I'm missing 2 black flames.
Did you level Dex, though, to use that set? You're a cleric, not
No, definitely not. Don't have to level Dex to use the Swy-hander. Nope.
Well said. So what do you do on the team?
I suppose I'm a jack of all trades. My favorite thing to do is mobs, though.
You want to go into that more? What mobs?
Yeah.
What dungeons? What's your history there?
The first dungeon I did was a light gray, and by far I think it turned out the best with how I designed the mobs at the time. I think I could probably do better with some of my later work now that I know there are different strategies. We also have way more tools to work with stuff now. But at the same time, you don't want to also just go back and change stuff without thinking about it.
Absolutely. In terms of what's in-game right now that people can play and say, oh, Spy made that, what are some things that you've touched?
I did the mobs for purple and shifting. Let's see. I also did a lot of the smart placement for Forsworn Sanctum, which was fairly recent.
The rework, not the original.
Yeah, the rework.
When did you join the team, speaking of?
Oh geez, I've been around for quite a while. I joined shortly after Novalescent / Firelord Weapon League / whatever he's going by today joined. Because I was a mod beforehand, but then he asked me, hey, you want to be a dev? And it's like, okay, sure. So I'm a rather old hire. It's just my motivation is variable. So you might not always see me doing developer work.
Understandable. Did you join the game together with Firelord?
Oh yeah, we joined back when we were called the Adventurers. It was a little guild that we had with a couple other people. So there are actually a couple of references to us in the game. I don't think intentionally for the Adventurers crystals, which is what comes to mind.
Really? I'm surprised about that. That would have been my obvious go-to pick.
I think that was a coincidence. I'm not quite sure, though.
Because Fire had a really... I mean, Call was kind of his baby.
Yeah, it was.
So, I expected that. Maybe I'm wrong. So how did y'all find the game? Initially?
So at the time, we were going through a bunch of CTM maps and other adventure map stuff, such as Terra Restore 2, I think was the last one we had played at the time. So Fire decided he was going to look at server listings and see if there's anything cooler than Windcraft around.
Nice.
Because that's also where we had done a lot of our stuff and where we had met.
Oh yeah, do you want to convert it all to currency and then divvy it up at the end?
Oh yeah, shoot, I should probably configure my crystallizer.
I didn't know if you had a preference on making it into dust or not.
Yeah, I just turn it into dust because it's easier, because you can always sell the dust.
Fair point. I actually don't have the attachment, so I might leave
two
fights
okay.
for you. Or I might
watch
just do
out.
the whole thing for you. You could be the loot guy.
Okay, that works.
So, Windcraft was your baseline. You were wondering if there was something cooler than that.
He also has done a lot of work for the Windcraft Systematic Recreation. I'm not sure if anyone watching will be familiar with that, but he was one of the key players in that. Oh, here we go with the fight. So, along with the systematic recreation for Windcraft stuff, one of the things we were doing at the time was looking at these maps. And he decided, okay,
Nice.
why don't I get...
Wow, that was easy.
Yeah,
You
why
killed
don't I
that
get...
guy great.
Yeah, why... shoot, lost my train of thought.
My mistake.
No worries. With how the maps were going, his thought was, okay, why don't we try some of this online stuff, because there might be servers that are running cool adventure maps. So he got me to check out Monumenta in, I believe, February of 2018, which is when I first logged in. It's like, okay, yeah, this seems cool. We just didn't realize at the time, though, that we were both going to end up developers. Park was also part of the adventures, and he's worked on the music as well.
Now, are y'all, if this isn't prying, are y'all like real life friends or?
Oh no, we actually met through Windcraft, and if anyone remembers the server, Shotbow. Unfortunately, Shotbow is mostly dead now.
Sorry, it doesn't ring a bell. That's cool though.
Yeah, a whole bunch of cool little game modes. This is a bit of a tangent, but if anyone's heard of Mindsy, it's a recreation of Daisy in Minecraft. It was fun playing around with our little group guild.
Here's some T5s. I did not convert.
Okay.
Well, fun. How'd you come up with your username?
Oh, remember GameSpy?
Maybe. I don't want to date myself too much. Yes, a little bit.
So back when Need for Speed 2 Hot Pursuit was out, I was trying to think of a username to give myself for the online stuff, because online races were the big new thing. So I was like, oh, what's this GameSpy thing in the bottom right corner? Because at the time I was really young. I think it was like 8 or something. So it's like, GameSpy, yeah, that sounds cool. So that's how I named myself.
I'm honestly amazed it isn't the TF2 class.
No, I found TF2 way later.
Cool. Cool.
Although I mean medic in TF2, so it's kind of funny being named Spy, but I'm playing medic.
Yeah, I was about to say, we just interviewed Pax, so that would make an amusing coincidence. So how about the 21DD? What's the story there?
Well, originally I was 1DD, but I thought I didn't set up my Minecraft account name correctly, so I did second 1, because you'd think it would read as 21, but it was just second 1, and I don't know why I thought at the time.
That's pretty funny.
And then the DD part, I'm going to leave up to interpretation. Just as long as it's not the obligatory classic joke. Oh, that's a Colossus.
So 'tis. You are melting these guys.
Yeah, Regicide 2 passively 4 or 5 Harmony's End. Works pretty great.
Nice. What is the piece of content that you've helped with that you dislike the most?
Oh, geez. I gotta say shifting, just because I think I could have done better on the mobs.
Even just to play independently of your own work? Like, not a matter of shame, but just like, I don't really like playing this one. Anything?
Yeah, I tried shifting solo recently, actually. Even though it's been years, and I probably should have tried solo way earlier. It's just I never got around to it, because the mobs left such a bad taste in my mouth.
Oof.
Part of the problem is, I thought, okay, why don't I try designing stuff like Light Gray again, which was kind of tanky, a bit high damage, everything was a little bit faster than people were used to at the time. But that just doesn't work for shifting's cramped rooms. And also, Ray at the time wanted some more cooler gimmicks, but we didn't have nearly as many tools for dealing with bosses and whatnot. Oh geez, I do not want you to die there.
I don't want to either.
Wait, why can't I heal you?
Couldn't say.
Oh, there we go. Maybe I cast it accidentally.
What are those guys' community name? Melvin, Albert?
I know the slime is Albert, but I don't remember any of the other names. I find it rather amusing because Super Smash Bros. Melee has Randall the Cloud and Yoshi's Island, and then we have the Colossus have their own names. I don't play Smash, though, for anyone wondering. I just lurk in a lot of communities.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Just osmosis from the internet. So, in terms of independently of what you've worked on, what is your favorite piece of Monumenta to play and least favorite to play?
I like dungeons. It's always been the core experience of the server, even though we've gotten a lot of people in recent months and years who have liked strikes and other repeatable content, but I think dungeons is where it's at.
Any particular dungeon that's your favorite?
No, I might just say like Ray as a cop-out.
It's fine. I'm glad you like it enough to say it's your favorite.
Yeah, Stick and the rest of the builders, I believe a lot of early Viz did work on that. They did a good job, and I'm feeling my recoils. Because part of the problem with some of the layer dungeons, like Forum, even though it looks beautiful, they did a great job with the aesthetics, is sometimes it's just difficult to navigate around in combat because, there's a whole bunch of leaves on the floor or something like that.
Sure, I know the feeling.
But like Ray is, the floor designs are intricate, especially in something like the Risky Rink, but you can also move around.
It's kind of important.
Yep.
To be able to do.
Level design and all that jazz. One of these days I should probably figure out game design, but it's not my profession. I'm a computer science major.
Well said. How about your least favorite thing in Monumenta to play?
I dislike how some people have optimized the game really heavily, because if the game's not fun, why play? So stuff that falls under that category would be loot runs for POIs, because I just don't find that engaging. I'd rather just do my bounty and be done with it. Loot runs in Darkest Depths are also in that category. Because I like to fight stuff. I want to swing sword, do big damage.
Sure. Monkey brain.
Indeed.
Neuron activation. Well said.
So if I'm playing Hyro, then neuron activation happens when someone pops escape death.
So if you could change anything about your least and favorite things in Monumenta, what would they be?
If we had come up with a good, clean solution, we would have implemented it ages ago.
That's very optimistic of you. That there would be a pushback.
I'm not quite sure how to fix those problems without harming regular players.
Sure. Well thought of. So if you were the dictator of Monumenta for one day, and you could change anything with no resistance, in fact, if everyone even loved your change, you wouldn't even hurt anyone's feelings with how you changed the game, what would it be?
That's a good question, because I think Combustible does a really good job with leading the team for the most part, even though he doesn't want to be the leader. Yeah,
this is
he's a
without
leader,
any
not a
resistance.
dictator.
Yeah. Big difference there. What an awful noise.
I think that's the horse death noise, yeah.
I hate horse death so much. What do you think?
Trying to think of something good. I know it's been really good for the health of the game, and the community wouldn't have grown as much as it did without Graves, but I'm still a boomer, and I kind of like pre-Grave Monumenta, where everything was cheap, but also you had to play well or else everything was disposable.
That is incorrect, sir. You are a tryhard. I'm looking at your name over your head. If you were a true boomer,
course.
You would have the title, even though I know you do.
Yeah, I've sweat the passes.
You earned it. I don't blame you for using tryhard.
Yeah.
Who? This is a mean question. Who's your favorite other team member?
That is a good. Well, maybe not so good because now I have to pick favorites. So boy.
The questions were anonymous. I don't know which patron asked this.
Oh, okay. It's just so hard to pick a favorite because everyone's got their own skills that they have and really good work that they do, because Novalescent /Fires thing back then. Oh, hello, right above us.
Oh.
I'll restart this question after we finish this guy off.
That would be wise. Nice. You are good at killing those guys. Well done.
Yep.
What do you use to kill them?
So my build is kind of boss killer. What I focus on is having a decent amount of tank, a good amount of damage, and Regicide 4. So that's 20% extra damage to bosses, specifically.
It'll do it. Cool.
Then back to the previous question on favorite team member. I don't think the project would be where it is today without the direction of Combustible. He just knows how to be a good leader and push people in the right direction.
Agreed. Good choice. Do you have any thoughts on upcoming basic Minecraft releases? Like
Oh, jeez.
Or I don't think have they showed anything about 1.20?
I don't really keep up too much with vanilla Minecraft releases because Monumenta is kind of turned into its own engine. You can build stuff in here without really interacting all too much with the vanilla systems now. I gotta say, though, that the decision to have blanket chat reporting was probably one of the strangest ones. I'm sure it was to look good to people in the company and investors and whatnot, but simply doesn't work with the Minecraft community at large.
Well said. Do you have a caffeine addiction? And if so, how bad is it?
A caffeine addiction? Was that directed at a different dev or something?
No one in particular. Why? Is there someone who has one?
Oh, no.
No, these are
I prefer to reserve times that I use coffee, because the way I think about caffeine is it's really great for when you need that push because you didn't get enough sleep. But if you use it all the time, then you just don't get the same hit of, oh, I'm awake now.
For sure.
I also like tea too, but that doesn't have nearly as much caffeine.
Green or black?
Any kind of tea.
Nice.
I can't remember the name of the tea that I'm currently working through. It's a really fruity flavor. I think if I had to say, it's raspberry, maybe? It's really good. I wish I knew the name off the top of my head, but I'd recommend it.
I'll keep an eye out for some random raspberry tea then. Raspberry is just a good flavor, though.
Yeah, it's pleasant.
For sure. What is something you regret regarding Monumenta? It could be like something that happened that you wish didn't, or something that you've never been able to do that you wish you could.
So there's a lot of things I wish I could have added to Monumenta because I personally think they were left a little bit unfinished. And there's also a lot of things that could be polished. It's kind of the curse of a game that's constantly in development is, oh geez. You'll have a lot of things that you think could have been done better, but we tend to ship the minimum thing to just get it out there because we on the team know that it's going to take a while for things to be perfect, so it's better to just, oh geez.
Man, my bad.
No worries. It's better to just get things out.
Lois. You look very dapper.
Thank you. I wonder why you chose that adjective.
Yeah, it's almost like there's an inside joke there. Just like your armor set. I'm sorry, I kind of zoned out when fighting the Outcast. I'm glad you were able to keep talking. Do you want to repeat that? Because I kind of missed it.
Sure, go ahead.
What'd you say? What was it
The
that
curse
you were unable
of
to put in?
Yeah, the curse of an ever in development project is there's always things that, shoot, I should have improved upon this before I released it, but we hear it on Team Monumenta like to release stuff when it's just good enough, or else we know it will never get out the door because there's too many people working on it and they all want this one thing to be better than it is. I think in terms of content that needs a revamp, though, Asakura definitely comes to mind because he's a bit of a joke nowadays. the city part of Lime, I think Stick mentioned this in his interview, but it also could use some work.
It's fair. Was Azakar our second boss? I know Sea Axel was our first.
If Sea Axel was first, then yeah, Azakar is second.
Sounds about right. Well, that's a fair answer. Was there ever a time that you felt like giving up on a project entirely?
And
if
I mean the entire Monumenta project as a whole, or just one certain thing?
It could be all of Monumenta as a whole.
It can get demotivating sometimes, because I've seen people release stuff like Krondus has gained the notorious title of Krontent whenever he releases something. But I don't think I've ever participated in anything like that. Really, it's just my motivation is bad.
Because I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure what you're saying here. Is the reputation of Krontent that it's unpolished or that it gets bashed?
That it's bad, fundamentally bad. Because a lot of people are like, oh geez, I hate Rod. I don't want to do this for the best quality of epic in the game. So I want to avoid stuff like that for sure whenever I do work on the project.
Gotcha.
And hindsight's always 20/20. I guess where I'm going with this is you don't want to release something that no one will like, but at the same time you have an idea of this project in your mind and you're passionate about it. Because if you weren't, then you wouldn't go through the trouble of actually making it. So you don't want to make something that no one will play, but you also want to see your idea to come to life.
Of course. Didn't know there were guys there. Well said.
Apparently. That's where the Twisted spawned.
When you first started out, did you feel a pressure to be perfect, and were you overwhelmed? As a developer, specifically.
Yeah, I've always been a bit of a perfectionist. I want things to be done right the first time. Especially with, like, Ray mobs. Because I wanted it to be perfect the first time, but when the first playtest came around, it was way too easy, because I had designed all the spawner placements and mobs to be more like a Dark Souls experience, where everything is out to kill you and very formidable, so you can die to just a bunch of the undead guys in the undead bird.
Sure.
But that's just not how our game works, because we've got multiple people that can participate in a dungeon raid.
Yeah, we have more variables for sure.
Yep. And also building. It's really huge how much it opens the game that we're in survival mode for most of the game.
So what you're saying is Dark Souls needs a Fortnite collab?
I'm not so sure about that.
No,
I don't think
that is the only conclusion one can draw from what you just said.
I don't think I want Dark Souls to be a skin in Fortnite.
Oh, I was saying the opposite. I think Miyazaki needs to put Fortnite building mechanics.
Oh no.
Now that Fortnite lost him.
Really, did Fortnite lose them? I thought it was just an alternate game mode.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's so popular that I thought it did. Kind of a shame. That always seemed like part of its identity.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your history with CTMs? Sorry, I was reading. Didn't mean to leave.
Oh, I played a couple of CTMs with the Adventurers.
Mm-hmm. Like, when did you start with those? How many have you played?
Oh, geez. I know Terra Restore 1 and 2, and we're waiting for Mythy to eventually come out with something new, because he always puts out really polished stuff. Really cool stuff. I know we did some of the Ragecraft series. I think RC1 or RC2 we started on but never finished, maybe? I'm not quite sure. And then we tried doing Horrify, but we quit. Shoot, I can't remember the name of the area.
Was that Render? Who did Horrify?
Yeah, that was Renders.
Okay.
It was just, by the time we got through several of the objectives, all of the natural spawns start ramping up in difficulty, which is fine, because you can counterplay that with lights and torches and whatnot. But when you put skeletons on top of blazes and spam that, it just isn't fun anymore. Especially when you've got vanilla abilities you're working with. It's not like Monumenta where we've got a complex class system, so you can volley everything away.
I miss volley whenever I use bows in other games. I think all games that have bows should have volley, fundamentally.
It's nice having an instant use shotgun, for sure.
For sure.
This is the part where I shall ultra kill.
Yeah! We might get to that later.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite CTM map in your memory? One that stands out? If you had to pick one?
I'd say Terra Restore, probably because of nostalgia. It was also pretty well polished. Oh, jeez. It actually ran out of detonation time.
Go on, Terra Restore. Do you have any opinions on the direction? Maybe you interpret this question differently, because I don't know who sent it, but the direction of modern CTMs. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I haven't really played too many modern CTMs. Man. Besides Monumenta, which I know will make any CTMC members sad to hear that, but it's just so addicting to be on here. We've got so many nice things going for us, because you wouldn't think it, but then you get all these nice little quality of life things like opening shulker boxes in your inventory, opening loot chests in your inventory, being able to sell gear on the fly for money, opening your ender chest, and it's really difficult to make those things in a vanilla environment. I know Cartographer is one of the more recent developments that uses data packs and stuff, but it's just, once you play Monumenta, it's, why would I go to anything else? It's so good.
Sure.
Which I know is hyping up the game, but...
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite bit of drama that's happened in Monumenta?
Oh, there have been a lot of little fun things, especially when I used to be a mod, because I'd see more of that stuff. This is really old, so I don't think anyone will remember this, but the bombing of Umaru-chan.
Rest in power. I miss her so much.
Also, I think we might be getting camped by this Twisted. I didn't expect
yeah.
both of us to get memed on like that.
Going for mine, seeing if I can...
Watch out for the creeper.
Okay.
Well, thank you for getting my grave.
I did.
Oh, jeez, never mind.
Dadgummit. Yeah, creeper got me. So yeah, favorite bit of drama.
So Umaru-chan was one of them. For anyone unfamiliar, I'm just going to give the abridged version, because Umaru was a pixel build that someone did above the Near River, I think in 2018. If I remember correctly, it was Atlas.
I think so, yeah. Atlas or maybe Lulz, one of the two.
Everybody will recognize this name because Bad Bird still plays. But he likes blowing stuff up. He famously had a house made of TNT on his plot back when all the player plots were on the same shard. So he waits a couple of days. I think he waited until the weekly reset day, and he blows that thing up. Of course, that did not go over well with the builders, so it was pretty amusing to see. You gotta respect builders who take the time to make stuff like that, because they know it's going to get wiped eventually, but at the same time, you're building it on a server with weekly resets and people have access to survival mode tools.
Yep. Do you have any cool scars?
Scarves?
Scars. Like from an injury, not scarves.
Oh,
scars.
Scars.
They can be emotional scars if that's what you prefer to answer with.
I'll click your grave. Hold on.
Thanks. He's on you right now.
Yep.
Oh man, he just switched aggro. These are terrifying.
So, this is a rather funny story. Back in a previous house I used to live at, we had a little clubhouse, because I was pretty young at the time. And I was playing tag or something with my sister and one of her friends. And this clubhouse had a fireman's pole. that was
Ooh.
sunk into concrete so it wouldn't move when you slid down it. But when I was in the clubhouse, I decided, I better jump out to not get tagged. And that resulted in me hitting my head on that concrete. Thankfully, it didn't do any damage to me, but it definitely left a scar that's still underneath my hair.
Shoot.
It certainly gave my mom a scare. No doubt about that.
How far was the drop itself?
I think it was a good 4 or 5 feet.
Did you just block me in? No, he did. That's hilarious. I'm safe now.
Wow.
Thanks, Twisted. That was nice of him.
Yeah, I've noticed even though they're not supposed to place blocks, and yeah, they sometimes still place them above your head.
Well, I'm glad you're all right and not brain damaged.
Yeah, that would really suck. That would be a bit of a life changer. One of the nice things about being a young kid, I suppose. You're actually pretty resilient.
Yeah.
Parents don't think it, but...
What was your favorite subject in school, or is your favorite subject in school?
I've got a love-hate relationship with math, because it's part of my area of study right now. I'm a math minor.
Nice. Any particular branch of math that you enjoy most, or hate the most?
Mostly just working towards computer science stuff. Though, I've also done stuff that relates to physics, because that is pretty helpful for working with firmware and whatnot, and electromagnetism.
Well said.
Well, I've got a little bit more on it, actually.
Yeah.
Math is something that you gotta struggle with, and a lot of people just simply don't like that kind of struggle in their school subjects. But I have to hit my head against the problem for quite a while before I get it. And I think learning how to study by doing math early on is a good way to approach it for your college career and whatnot, because it will come back, and every time it comes back, you need to know how to study.
Well said. And do you think math is distinctive in that regard? And if so,
yeah, because it's not something that you memorize. Well, I suppose you can memorize it, but then you won't understand it. To understand it, you need to do a lot of practice.
Sure. Well said. How much, if any, of your education has influenced things here in Monumenta? Have you been able to directly apply any of your CS work?
Oh yeah, I've done bits and pieces of coding, though nothing super big. A bug fix here or there.
But do you just use the principles in your studies, or is there like direct one-to-one sort of carryover? I'm genuinely curious. I'm not asking in a leading way.
Nothing off the top of my head.
Okay. Sounds good. What is the most difficult bug that you've encountered?
Oh geez, there's a lot of bugs that happen due to Mojang's way of doing things. Shoot. I think one of the ones that I've had to deal with the most is how MBT is stored. We call it Mojangson because it's based on JSON, but it's Mojang's own weird flavor. And working with Mojangson can be a real pain because it's got all the quirks of JSON, but also its own special requirements for how items are formatted. Though a lot of that changed with the item rework. And thankfully we have automated tools to deal with most of it now.
Who all developed those? Our automated tools?
Pretty sure Stick did all the work on that, though Flat might have done some testing and development of his own. I can't quite remember. And Rubik's laid the foundation for the item rework too.
Yeah. Good lads.
Indeed.
What's your most embarrassing skill issue moment?
Probably just now shattering to an alchemist.
That was pretty. Oh yeah, we shattered off recording as we finished off that Twisted.
Wait, did you shatter anything?
I didn't, but I was just trying to be. It's a team. If we lose as a team, we both lose. It's like that communist Bugs Bunny meme, our shattering.
Gotcha. There's also been other funny instances of skill issuing, because back in the earlier days of Monumenta, the player base as a whole, myself included, were worse at the game. So we used to prep the arena for Azcore before we started because of Boomline. I remember Axtol killing a lot of people's armor and stuff.
Yep, setting up Obsidian.
Because of his Boomline. The funniest thing, though, I can remember is we tried planting a jungle tree in one of the first calls we did to see if it would block meteors. Oh, he's behind us.
I did not know he could get up here. That's cool. This is terrifying.
Oh.
Get him. Oh, GI too?
Oh, yeah, I got him.
Nice. I have not fought one of the mages yet. I didn't know they could teleport to you like that. That's awesome. Can all Twisted do that?
No, that's just the mage, though I guess the Warrior's Leap could kind of count. It needs line of sight to you, though.
The leap, not the TP.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, actually, both.
Oh. I didn't even know he got line of sight. I thought it was just...
He dug through the wall, because I guess there's a bit of bedrock missing.
What a jerk!
I'm going to send your grave. You ready?
Thank you. Ready. You're the best. So since all of our dev work is voluntary, and we're not getting paid, what keeps you motivated to keep doing stuff here?
I suppose you make the things that you want to see in the game. It is a passion project. For example, I like fighting stuff, so that's why I like working on mobs, because I want to make a challenge that I think is enjoyable to play against. But there's also a lot of maintenance and stuff that I'll do, because someone's got to keep stuff running.
Well said. Do you do much of that maintenance yourself?
Well, it's mostly cleaning up older stuff that no one's really touched because it works and no one wants to deal with it. For example, I really want to reorganize loot tables because they're a hot mess to find anything in right now, and it would help the mods immensely if they could just pull what the current item is from the loot tables instead of having to rely on the item platform. Though that's a pretty big task in itself, because you gotta make sure that what you're changing doesn't randomly affect a chest in gray or something like that. Because all the, for example, the money tables, they're connected to pretty much every single thing that drops money.
Makes sense. Thank you for being one of the guys who touches that. I know that's kind of a thankless job sometimes.
Yeah. It's also not something you can really write a changelog for when internally you fix this bug, and the plugin guys do a lot of work to fix stuff like that too. Mm-hmm. Really appreciate what they do.
We're a good team. We got some good teammates.
Indeed.
What is something that you wish the player base would just quit doing? It could be annoying or legitimately demotivating for you, or harmful. Twisted 5 gets a lot of these.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
It's pretty fast spawns.
We ask your pardon for those at home. We're attempting not to die.
It's the golems that really get me with this guy.
Yeah, I remember. Okay. That was my first cleric I fought too. Yeah, I remember saying you're hearing that the golems were going to be the threat with them. Nice.
Oh, this guy got stuck. Nice.
What a goober. So what's something you wish the player base would quit doing?
I suppose it goes back to my point about fun earlier. I like playing the game and developing for it because it's fun. And if you hyper optimize everything you do, you will burn out. You don't need 90% DR on every single set you wear. You don't need to hit 500 damage on crit. I'm not running a very optimized build right now. I'm sure plenty of people will tell me, oh, you should wear this instead.
Sure.
But I find it fun.
Yeah. It lets you actually use your arsenal instead of just throw away everything but 5 pieces.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to play the meta. That's why I see a lot of players do too, is they say, is X class good? What's the meta? It's like, you don't need the meta.
Yeah. Fortunately, I think even the sweaty players will tell new players do whatever. Like there is no obvious best choice, which is nice. I love it when we get that message.
Agreed.
Well, there you go. So we're on to the generic questions. Those were all the patron ones. Whoop.
Gotcha.
I'm all the way up to the top. Why is Monumenta special to you? And if you want to separate it this way, as a community and as a game.
As a community, we definitely have a lot going for us because we're still in the fairly small stages. So that means a lot of people know each other, which is pretty great because then you can hop on and it's like, oh, hey, I recognize these guys. And ask them to do a raid and whatnot. But in terms of a game, I think what we really have special going for us, especially compared to other RPGs, is the amount of player expression that comes with being able to build, being able to destroy stuff.
For sure.
Classic CTM mechanics that just wouldn't have evolved in any other game except Minecraft and map making.
Where are you going?
There was a Colossus of Entropy down there, but on second thought, I don't want to fight a slime in a small room.
Perfect.
I'll leave that for the night guy.
What are was that? Did you want to go on more about Monumenta as a game and the survival elements?
I guess it's kind of strange how it evolved from the CTM genre to the MMO genre, because we've also always labeled ourselves a CTM MMO RPG, but we've leaned a lot more heavily into the MMO RPG part in recent years with Graves and whatnot, because CTMs are pretty firmly very punishing. You die, you lose all your stuff, but you also get a lot of gear thrown at you.
Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to treat it as disposable.
Yep.
It's hard to do that for anything you grind like 10 hours for.
Yeah, you don't want to treat your set of epics as disposable.
For sure. Unless it's spring cleaning. What do you enjoy doing outside of video games? What brings you joy?
I see the Mod Ross quote kicking in. I like skiing. Skiing's really fun. I like anything that requires a lot of mechanical skill to master, a lot of technical know-how. Skiing's one of those things. Archery is another, though I haven't done archery fairly recently.
I wasn't aware there was much opportunity to ski in where you're from.
Well, for Arizona, which is where I go to school, you're up on a mountain at 7,000 feet. It snows in the winter. There's a ski resort that's only like 20 miles or something from the university, so it's pretty nice. You can go skiing in the winter.
That's real cool. All right, Redemption. We got this.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, those potions hit really hard.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good for you. So, skiing, archery...
Potion up. Skiing, archery... I used to do a lot of biking, but there's not so many opportunities to do that, especially when you're an out-of-state student, so that means you gotta ship everything to one place to another every school year.
Sure.
I've even done a bit of golf, too. All technical stuff that requires patience and time. I suppose in terms of non-physical activities, I like chess. I like board games that require a lot of mental capacity. I guess I'm repeating myself here, but anything that requires
It's all playing on theme.
patience to master, I enjoy.
What are the other board games besides chess that you would put in that category that you enjoy?
I wouldn't say it takes time to master, but Monopoly.
We need a Monumenta board game now. You heard it here. Dev confirmed.
I've
Coming
heard
out from
things about
Hasbro.
the D&D campaign that someone was making.
Oh, yeah. I guess that would be a Monumenta board game. How about that? Hadn't thought of that. Oh, what were you about to say?
Monopoly. It takes a lot of patience to get through a full game.
Love Monopoly. Do you play with your family?
Yeah, occasionally.
I approve. I know some might not be able to.
Oh yeah, it takes forever.
Well
Sometimes it's just good to step away from it for an evening and come back to it the next day. But I know there are other types of board games where it can take weeks to complete them. I can't remember the names, but it's another community that I lurk in. There's a lot of D&D people that I know, a lot of board game nerds.
For sure. Would they object to the calling D&D a board game? Don't they make a distinction about it's a tabletop or something?
Maybe. I'm not quite sure with the terminology.
Sure. Fair stuff. What's your favorite video game and why?
Favorite video game? I played quite a few video games. Besides, I guess, obvious is Minecraft, because I wouldn't have stuck for 10 years if I didn't like it. I like TF2. I know I mentioned that previously. Playing Medic. I like playing support classes in games, because it's fun to see your teammates succeed because of your direct efforts. Because, especially in games like TF2, where it's built around the medic staying alive, it's good knowing that you won because you were able to push that round because of your healing.
For sure.
Making big contributions. I also enjoy boomer shooters, like Ultra Kill.
Yeah.
I've been playing Blood Fresh Supply recently. It's a really old one.
I'm not familiar. Is that the one with the guy Caleb?
Yeah, Caleb.
Okay, I've heard of that. I've never played it myself. That's cool.
Also Quake, 30-year-old boomer moment.
Yeah, very boomer. And just like the quote-unquote boomer shooters like Ultra
Yeah.
the new ones. Cool. Well said. What are some of your other favorite things in media, like favorite movie, TV show, musical artist, books, all that jazz? Color.
Well, in terms of TVs and movie, I don't really watch too much TVs and movie anymore. I mostly like video games because it's something you interact with. Though with music, I'm pretty much always listening to some sort of music, even while I'm playing games.
What about now?
Yes, even now.
Nice. And
Currently
you said
listening-
you weren't good at multitasking.
Well, I wouldn't consider it multitasking. Because it's something more passive that you do.
Fair.
So where did that guy come from?
I have no idea, man. This is a very blown up city. Squirrel
Yes.
she sees this. Look at what we've done to her build.
Can't believe this.
What sort of music do you enjoy?
I go through cycles and phases, but right now I'm on a late 90s, early 2000s French house techno D&D mix.
Goodness gracious, did your pinkies rise while saying that sentence? That was so fancy.
So, I don't know. It's kind of like the
more
early days
adjectives
of
you add.
clubbing.
Okay.
After, with influence of disco. I wish Daft Punk was still around. I miss them.
When did they quit? What year?
I think that was just last year. It hasn't been that long.
I miss them too. What has surprised you most about being a developer on Monumenta?
Well, besides working with Minecraft as a game engine instead of treating it like its own game, I suppose a lot more than you would think goes into working with the community instead of against them, because you want to have a community that you actually give the game, or else you just don't have a player population. Seems a little self-explanatory when I say it like that. So it's difficult striking a balance between things you know will keep the game healthy, because everyone wants more cake, but you can't have too much cake or else you get sick of sugar. And doing things that the community wants.
Any particular examples of that in recent times that we could latch on to?
With the item reworking, a lot of changes, and a lot of people did not like how Bow Scout got nerfed. But I think it was personally healthy for the game, because you can't have a class that can basically do it all when it comes to dungeon clearing, which is the main point of Monumenta. Because Bow Scout has the mobility and range it needs to not really take damage. So you can't have a class like that where there's no drawbacks to using it. So now, with the reworked items, you actually gotta figure out, okay, can I really afford more damage, or should I focus a little bit more on survivability because this is a cramped dungeon? And the same goes for other range classes like Mage, and to an extent Warlock and Alchemist. Because you can't have a class that just overpowers the meta. You want something that people can play and say is fun, but also not feel like they're being punished for using it.
For sure. Hold on, guest fighting for a second. What is your fondest memory playing Monumenta?
I know this is going to be another repeat point, but playing with friends has always been and always will be peak Monumenta. If you can join with a friend group like I did, you will love the game at first, and you will stick with it for a lot longer time than if you just joined as a solo player. Because you'll still see solo players stick around for quite a while. But having a friend group that says, oh yeah, let's go play Monumenta, it's just great, because that's who the game was made for. It's made for playing a group. I remember back in the day before delves were a thing, the plebs did a lot of raids together through dungeons. We used to do weekly reveries. Those were fun.
They were. We had a good time. What is your fondest memory developing the game?
Oh, I like to screw around with mobs a lot, because the creative process for making mobs is screw around, find out, see if it's fun, and then worry about balancing later. So I've done stupid stuff like the cursed silverfish. That was a fun little thing I snuck into light gray.
Where are they in light gray? I don't think I recall.
It's in the little headroom for developers.
Oh, okay.
It's just one spawner with it. And there I go. My head is on top of the spawner.
Nice.
Well, I've also done other fun, silly things, developing like the Ocelot riders that you see in shifting. I tried putting the hostile tag on an Ocelot just to see what it would do, and the AI was janky as heck, but it did try to harm you. So that was funny. So I decided I'm gonna meme with this, and I made Revolver Ocelot.
Dude, what? How?
Not as like a humanoid mob, but Revolver Ocelot as a regular Ocelot that just attacks you and is super fast.
Oh. I thought you somehow, gave it...
No, unfortunately. Back in those days, we didn't have as many boss tags to work with.
That's adorable.
But making silly little things like that is fun. I'm glad we have the build server so people can mess around with stuff like that too.
Absolutely. What do you draw from most in developing? and coming up with ideas for inspiration?
I also enjoy Dark Souls, and I know I mentioned it before. I think the Dark Souls formula works fairly well for our game, though with a little bit of modification. I think a little bit of boomer shooter also works pretty well, because we have fairly self-contained content like the arena, that even though it doesn't follow the boomer shooter format, it certainly follows the arena shooter format.
And what is the arena shooter format, if you were to encapsulate it?
Stuff like Quake 3 Arena. Even though that's PvP, it's a similar thing where you're put into arena with a whole bunch of people or mobs that you have to fight against. In terms of dungeoning, nothing else comes to mind, though.
That's fair. Why don't you tell us something about yourself that I would have never thought to have asked you in the first place? This is your freebie question. Or phrase.
Oh, the freebie question.
Yeah, or a different way, if you want to put it that way. What is something that you wish I had asked you, so you had an excuse to talk about it?
That's a good one. I'm going to have to think about it for a little bit.
Take your time.
The collaborative nature of our team is pretty special, because you have servers like Windcraft and Hypixel with Hypixel Skyblock, where all their developers are paid, and it's a very formal structure. Here, though, we don't have nearly as much formalism in it, so we're free to do funky stuff like Revolver Ocelot if we want to. We're free to experiment a little. So it may not lead to the most polished of things, but it certainly has that little charm to it, that we're not doing this for the money, we're doing this because we think it's fun.
Agreed. What do you think if ooh, here's a random question I just thought of. This isn't even on the list. If the game industry could take any lessons from Monumenta, what should they be?
I know back in the day it was standard to not have them, but please, no more microtransactions. I'd rather have the full game when I buy it. Except for subscription-based stuff, because it makes sense to pay subscriptions for servers that have to constantly stay online, like MMOs.
Sure.
But I don't want to have to pay so much extra for the game plus what should have been in the game.
Absolutely. Colossi.
Where?
Excellent. I'm up on the top near the last one.
Oh, okay.
Facing. Oh, here he is. Trying to kill that last conjurer. Get yourself over here.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh. This is a bad timing. Well, this will be a nice climax because we're wrapping up as soon as we get this guy.
Okay.
Woo! Anything else you want to discuss while you got the mic? Anything you want to tell the audience? All the nice patrons.
Play the game for fun. Don't try to hyper optimize it. That's probably the biggest takeaway I can give it. Play with friends, because it will keep the game feeling much more fresh than if you just play by yourself all the time. Because if you're not in it for the fun, then why bother? As I think Reggie Filsamate put it.
Yeah. I love him. Yeah, very nice.
Uh-oh, well...
I thought I had more stuff off cooldown.
Also, why do you have a missing texture?
I do?
Yeah, it's a missing texture item. I don't know what it is, though.
Oh, it could be the remnant. I think Data fixed it and gave it to me.
Oh, okay.
I think it was missing in the official release pack. Yeah, my hope skin for the remnant.
Oh, gotcha.
Works on my machine. Well, that's a bit anticlimactic. I'm sorry for that, but
Nah, no worries.
Great run. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to do this and for all the stuff you do for our game.
Yeah. No problem.
And I'm glad we got to do this. I guess I'm going to go ahead and sign out here while I'm running back.
Understandable.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you for watching, everyone at home, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Later, skaters.